Okay, Section 2.8 describes a common process which is implementing a test program. And essentially, we've been doing that the whole time. So it's not like this is brand new, but they do want me to clarify the 6 steps here that I have numbered on the screen. That's the standard procedure for testing anything that you're doing. Like I said, we've been doing this. I'm just going to go through the process according to the steps so you can kind of see where it all fits in. But here's the things we're going to do. Number 1, provide a tester class. So we're going to write a specific class just for testing something we want to try out. So we'll use our rectangle object to do it. And so we'll make a class called we'll use the book example, which is a move tester, which will test whether or not you can use the translate method of the rectangle class. We'll supply a main method. That just means checking that box that says include a void main. And then inside the main method, we will construct one or more objects, rectangles in our case. We'll apply methods to the objects, like translate. And then we're going to display the results of the method call. So translate changes the XY value of a rectangle. So we'll display where X and Y ended up. And we also want to display what we expected. And this is actually a good step to put before. I would reverse those 5 and 6 so that you put down your prediction first, then test it and see what the results are. And always think ahead to what your program's going to do. That helps you learn what's happening a little better. So let's go through those 6 steps. First, provide a tester class. So I'm going to go over here and in chapter 2, we'll go down to my source folder and the chapter 2 package. And actually right here would be a great place to just describe what this is. A package is a collection of related classes. In the way that I set this up, they're only related because they're all in chapter 2. They're not functionally related. They're just related because we're in chapter 2, so I want to package everything up together in the same area so it's easier for me to grade them. But ideally, a package is a bunch of related tasks. So for example, java.awt is a package, and it contains all these different classes that have to do with drawing shapes and things on the screen. Rectangle is one of the classes that's in that package, just like rectangle component, section examples, empty frame viewer. These are all classes that are inside the chapter 2 package. So this is the package, and this is one of the classes in that package. So that's what a package is, and like I said, I've organized them here this way so that they're easy for me to grade and easy for us to keep track of. But really, when you're making a Java program or project, your packages would be a collection of functionally related classes that do similar things in it, so it makes sense for them to all be wrapped up together. That way, packages can be imported as a whole so that you get access to all the classes that are related, or you can import them just class by class like we're doing here. Okay, back on track. So I'll right click on the chapter 2 package and I'll say new class, and I'm going to name this class move tester. Its purpose is just to test whether or not we can use the translate method on a rectangle object to move the rectangle. So we're testing the movability of a rectangle. So move tester. And we do need a void main. There are times when you won't need to include main. If you're just designing a class, like if I was just building the rectangle class, I wouldn't need a main function there. A main function is only needed when you need to test things in a certain way, or when you need to start your program. The main function is the first thing that's called. We'll cover that in a later chapter. But in this case, my test class definitely needs to have a main function so that it can run independently of anything else. So we'll click Finish. And here's the move tester class. And here is the main function, or the main method. Okay. So back to my numbered list here. Number 2, supply a main method. We did that. Number 3, inside the main method, construct one or more objects. So in here, I'd like to build a rectangle, but I can't do that because I don't have the rectangle information imported yet. So you can do this 2 ways. You can import it at the start before you begin, or you can start creating what you need, like your rectangle class, and then when the error comes up, you can use the error help buttons to import the proper thing. So I'll show you that method right now. So I'm going to create a rectangle. Okay, there it is. But we have an error because the computer says, I don't know what a rectangle is. So we click on the error message over here. And the very first one on the list is not always correct. So double check this, but import rectangle from the Java AWT package. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. There's also an option to import from com.sun.javafx.geometry. I don't know if that's better than this one or not, but this is the one that we're using because we're not using this other stuff. So Java AWT is where we're sticking for right now. So I'm going to double click that, and it imports java.awt.rectangle, puts in a semicolon, and that's it. Now everything works. I still have warnings because I haven't done anything with the rectangle yet, but that's okay. So again, you could type this line in yourself at the start and never get the error, or you can just type in the rectangle stuff and use the error to import the code. It's up to you. So I've got a rectangle, and it starts at 10 on the x-axis and 20 on the y-axis, and its length is length and width are both 40. What I'd like to do is call the move method, or the translate method, which moves the rectangle. It changes the x and y value. So I will say my rectangle dot translate, and it depends on your preference. Some people like this autocomplete where it's already completing my code, and I need to put in x and y, and I can use the tab key to move in between those, shift tab to move back. I tend to not like those. I just kind of like to type things in myself. They're faster once you get used to using them, but anyway. So I'm going to translate. We're just going to go one pixel or one unit on x and one on y, so that it moves just one pixel in each direction. Okay, and then what we need to do is print out our results. So I apply the methods. That's applying the method right there, the translate method. And then we want to display the results and display the values that we expect to get. Okay, so I'm going to start by printing out what I expect to get. So we'll say system.out.println. I expect, or you can just say expected. X would be 11, and Y would be 21. That's what I expect. So let's find out what the actual numbers are. I'll say system.out.println, and we'll say my rectangle dot get x. And then I'm just going to copy this, paste it, and say get y. Okay, let's see what the results are. And we were correct. I said we, I was generous. You weren't correct, I was correct. Okay, so expected x to be 11 and y to be 21, and here we have x is 11 and y is 21. So that is the procedure for setting up a test class. We just create a class for the purpose of trying some things out. And usually you need to have a main method in there. You create your object, you give the method you want to test out some instructions, and then you print out what you expect to happen and what actually happened to see if you understand what's going on, to see if it's working correctly. Okay? And that's all the idea of Section 2.8 is trying to get across. Okay, there are some self-check questions on page 49. You should be able to answer those, and pay particular attention to question number 22. That deals with the java.util package, which is a utility package, and that contains the code that you need to create random numbers. And that comes up in one of your assignments, so pay attention to that one.